Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today what we'll be doing will be disassembling our Xbox. So I have one of those original Xbox that I showed in the last video, and what I'll be doing a teardown, and I did up a 3D printed case. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a test fit because I want to do something unique, a different type of build, and it's going to be a smaller case and a slimmer. And what I'm going to do with the original power supply that comes in the Xbox, I'm going to get that change out, and I'm going to find a way to power the Xbox using USB-C power supply or something like that. And for the controllers itself, what I'm going to do, I'm going to end up, change that out and allow you to use either a USB controller where maybe an Xbox One controller or something like that. And then in the long run, I'm gonna end up modifying the console. I'm not quite sure what version that I have right now, but what I'm gonna do when you do the teardown, I will figure out what version it is, and based on that, we'll move forward. And at the end, we're gonna have a unique console and everything, and I will allow the files to be available if anyone want to try this project or anything like that. So yeah, I'll go grab that Xbox and let's get to the teardown. So we have our console here, and I have my iFixit kit. So I do know that to disassemble the console itself, I need a T20 and a T10. So I've managed to remove all the screws that are on the bottom already. So what I'm gonna do, let's get this flipped over, and we're just gonna pull the top off. Alright, so we have all the things we're going to disassemble. Because we're going straight all the way down to the board itself. So I managed to remove some of the screws. So let's turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we need to remove this cable. So this console is pretty clean. I managed to pick it up from one of the suppliers that I get my 360 Slim from for my videos. And I told him that I wanted to do content on Xbox, and he had one. So, right. Let's unplug. Nice. So for this project, I'm hoping to do something kind of new, something interesting. I have a few case design that I'm gonna actually do, but I do have the prototype that I'm gonna do a test fit with the prototype and make sure that everything is fitting and everything like that. Alright, so let's remove the power supply. And we're just going to remove the connection for the controller and power button. Because all we need right now is just the board itself to do a test fit. And these seems like T10s. So let's get it from my iFixit kit. And I'm going to just remove these. As for the heatsink itself, I have an idea of a different type of shroud I'm gonna make for it, just as I did with my Xbox 360 cases, where I have that fan frame. So I may do something unique, and as I said, that no matter what I do, the files will be available for people to try. I'm gonna try to minimize the soldering work that's gonna be done on this board. I may end up removing this capacitor right here, where we can see it's already leak all over the place. But the board did turn on. Yes, this console did power on, for what I was told. I haven't tried it yet myself, but I'm confident that it does, because my supplier always give me good products, whether for content or anything they need it for. So looking on this cable, it doesn't seem like it's a 1.6. I know that for sure. It's kind of stuck in there. Let's make sure I have everything disconnected before I start pulling on stuff. Alright, so we got the board out, so let's put this aside. Alright, so the board looks okay. There's a few dust and everything on it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a test fit in the case that I have. So this is the case that I kind of mark up on 3D print. So this is gonna be the back. So I'm gonna redesign this section at the back because I am gonna try and do HDMI, and we have our Ethernet right there. So let's do a test fit to see if this actually work. Alright, so it fits kind of tight. What I'm gonna have to do, so these corners are rounding up, I'm gonna have to square it up some bit because the board itself is touching the edge going down. It fits in the case. The holes line up. The back port lines up, which is pretty good. All in all, this is turning to be a positive start. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make some adjustments on the side. I'm going to remove the heatsink because I'm going to figure out something different for this section, because there won't be a fan in the back. I'll have a fan on the top itself of the heatsink. So I'm going to design something that will hold a fan onto here. And given the dimension or the height of the board, this case needs to be a bit higher, I would say. So I may make it the same height as the Xbox 360 Slim case that I've designed. Because this is way thinner than it. If I pull one down and have a look, I can see the case itself, it's a lot thicker than this one. So I'm gonna make this a bit higher so that I have clearance on the top. And doing so, that will be my next step. So I'm gonna make some modification, make this a bit higher and everything. I'm gonna remove the heatsink so I can take some measurement. Because what I may do, whatever I'm gonna design, I'm gonna allow it to be mounted in these 4 holes that's right there, since they're already there. So whatever shot I'm making, it will also hold the board down in place. And I have to make design for the buttons and the controller. So I did saw a few mod where you can have either Arduino or so forth that will connect from the board itself. So you can have a USB connection or USB dongle, similar to using those MyFly USB dongle that allows you to wirelessly connect to modern controllers. So I may end up doing something like that. So I may end up just having 2 ports out, 2 original ports out. The original button for the eject and power, I'm going to find a way to incorporate that in. So I want to make sure that this design I'm doing, you don't do as much soldering except for the modding process. I'm not quite sure what approach I'm going to do on that. But as for the modification itself, it won't be as much soldering as the Xbox 360 Slim. Alright, so let's get this board out, and we can put that aside for now. And as for this, I'm just gonna remove this. Just remove the heatsink. It is on there real tight. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to find a way to remove that. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for now, and I'm gonna switch over. So just give me a moment. We'll be right back. So I managed to remove the heatsink. It was kind of tight to remove with this clip. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna remove these clips so I can remove this black frame holder. Then I'm gonna removing this heatsink so I can do a bit of cleanup on the board itself. This is kind of stuck on, so I may have to either heat it up with a heat gun and everything and get it removed. So I'm gonna clean up this board, redo the design and everything, and we're gonna do a test fit to make sure everything works. I'm gonna do some measurements for here and come up with a small little mod where I can use like a 120mm fan to cool both of this. So I'm gonna do all of that. In our next video, we'll explore all of those options. You'll see the results of what I've done, and I will leave the files in the description so that anyone can try it. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Anything you want to see me do with this, just let me know. I'll try my best attempt to apply whatever mod, and I will see you in the next one.